What is a dead giveaway that a person is a nice person? When they sense that you're uncomfortable talking to new people / talk in a large group and make the effort to talk to you. When they do kind things for others and don't brag about it or expect anything in return. There's something to be said about properly listening to you. It can be so easy for people to kinda gloss over a conversation, and not really fully take on what is being said. But someone that sit and properly listens to what you have to say, rather than messing with their phone or continually changing topics towards themselves. This is probably the Dutch equivalent of picking up thrash, but turning off someone's bike light. People often forget to turn off their backlight, so good people try to turn off the light and preserve the battery. The person who was helped will probably never know, but their life was just made a tiny bit better. When they pick up trash that isn't theirs and it isn't their job, simply improving the world because they can. They don't try to connect with you by gossiping about others. Or they say nice things about other people behind their back. I would never say this to her face, but she's a wonderful person and a gifted artist. What? Why wouldn't you say that to her face? Immediately accepting a new person. At my last job, a few of my then co-workers were very kind to me when I first started working there. I called off work one day and I have a newborn at home and I got text from the maintenance guy asking if everything was alright with my son. Yup, just decided to take the day off is all. When you make a mistake, or can't figure something out and they sympathize rather than making you feel like an idiot. As in, oh, you jammed the photocopier. Don't worry about it, it's really tricky, it messes everyone up the first few times, I'll help you out. When they're apologetic and own up / admit to anything frick-ups. Not sure if it's a dead giveaway, but I once met up with a Redditor in Paris and for some reason he thought I stood him up, although I was around 5 minutes late and he had gone and bought himself some food from a street cart. On finding out I was actually waiting for him, he comes around sheepishly with the food in his hand and gives it to the homeless guy round the corner. I really thought that was a nice thing for him to do, or perhaps he was socially awkward. Either way, that was a nice person thing in my books. They make sure there's enough for everyone before taking treats. I know you're a person, but when I read this, my mind thought, did a dog write this? When they genuinely go out of their way to do something for you without it being any trouble to them. They did it simply because it would help your situation or to make you happy. I had a friend who, every time he dropped me off at my house, would always pull all the way up my driveway. Most of my friends would drive up halfway or just park on my lawn to let me out, but he wouldn't even let me unbuckle my seatbelt until he was as far up my driveway as he could be. Now that I think about it, he always asked if I had my seatbelt on before driving off too. If you loan them money and they make an obvious effort to pay you back when they can. When they stand up for someone that can't stand up for themselves. Helping amputees is indeed very noble. When they do things for others but never say anything about it. They're not looking for recognition. If they pick up trash when they think no one is looking, if they make goofy faces at babies when the parents aren't looking, if they joke with old people for no reason, if they say puppies or cow when they see said animal. These are just a few that I have seen in people that are nice people. Songbirds spontaneously landing on them while they hang out there washing. They put their shopping cart in the cart return rather than leaving it in an empty parking spot or on one of those curbed grassy areas. That's just being a decent human. Like I'm a lazy AF and I do it. They listen to you when you have a conversation instead of constantly trying to get their word in. and they don't follow up everything you say with a personal anecdote that one-ups your statement. Ah man, I feel like I do this sometimes without meaning to. It's more to make a connection, not actually to one-up them. I try not to, but I get excited to share. I'm trying to be a better listener. When they're just constantly mentioning what they love about people. I got a buddy who anytime someone is mentioned will say, "Oh, she's so nice and pretty." Or, "He's so funny and smart." Just always having something good to say about someone. Edit, I've upset people BC. Apparently I reduce people to how they look. I'm sorry that my friend walks up to random people to tell them they look nice. I'll try to make her stop. Stop complimenting people. Stop making them feel good about themselves and how they look. This is so sad. Compliments offend people. Edit 2, my most upvoted post is about my best friend and her positive nature. Wouldn't have it any other way. They don't try to elevate themselves over you or others. I'm the best at this. If they get in the shotgun seat, and then as you're on the way to getting in the driver's seat, they reach over and unlock the door for you. Always saying thank you, please, have a nice day, etc. even when dealing with complete strangers. When they're always polite to restaurant staff and retail workers. For some reason a lot of people think it's okay to be complete pricks to these folks for some reason. You can tell a lot about someone based on how they treat a person that is obligated to be nice to them for whatever reason. Notice is when someone is edged out of a group and steps or sits back so they can fit in. Remembers to include people in group activities, e.g. the receptionist sitting alone front of office when everyone else is doing something out back. Or throws people a conversational line to draw them into a conversation. Sees someone struggling to open a door or carrying things and goes to help them. Makes sure you are included in the group photo. Says an open and friendly hi when they pass people while out on a walk, etc. Listens when people talk about their lives and remembers relevant details to ask about next convo. Remembers a person's likes and dislikes. If a friend gives them a lift to an event and the friend gets some kind of parking ticket, they offer to go halves in it. Does not pressure people to drink or eat if they don't want to. Never comes empty-handed to a social gathering. Messages/calls people on their birthdays, returns a borrowed car with a full tank of fuel, pays a stranger's expired meter. Is respectful to the homeless and buskers, is kind to animals. Lets people get on and off lifts/public transport etc. without pushing and shoving. Lets people with fewer items or frazzled parents with screaming children go ahead of them in the grocery line. Finds something positive to say in any situation. Does not talk poorly about people, especially their own partner. Behind their backs I could go on and on, ha ha. When they would rather give compliments than receive them. I prefer to give compliments just because I don't know how to take compliments. You look nice today. Them, oh thanks, you look good as well. You, screw you then. A gentle smile. If they don't say they are nice. They're kind to animals, all animals. And bugs. This. If somebody takes the spider out instead of killing it, then they most of the time end up being nicer than I'd thought. When dropping you off, they wait until you get inside your house before pulling away. As a kid, my mom taught me to do this. Every time you drop someone off, you make sure they're safe. They could be locked out or slip on a step, but it's your duty to make sure nothing happens. When they ask about you, rather than just talking about themselves.